1, 2, 3, go. Cut. Everybody else stay. The three of you come out here.
All right.
And we're going to spin you around. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So Heather and John and our missionary, Angie, we met briefly over whiteboards. Yes, exactly. We are excited. Of course, Heather and John have been members here with FAME for a while and have been incredibly active and are some of our favorites. You're all my favorites. But we were delighted when they came in and joined this amazing organization that we're able to help with, and we're excited about that. Angie, you're going to talk a little bit about the organization and what we're doing in Haiti?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to present you with this beautiful ribbon as a remembrance of your ribbon cutting, and I'm going to turn it over to Angie to tell us how we can help you be successful in this mission.
I'm going to talk for just a second. Most of you guys do know us. Me and John, we own FAME Internet Marketing. In 2013, we took our first trip with Angie. We actually went place of our honeymoon and worked with her in Haiti and built bunk beds. So Project One has been very near and dear to our hearts. We went in October. We went again in December. We plan on several other trips coming up in 2016. So we are really, really excited to hopefully introduce some of you guys to Angie. Her husband, Chris, will be here shortly, and just see maybe how some of you guys can plug in and help with our orphanage and school there in Haiti.
Well, I'm just thrilled. This is just wonderful that you're all here, and I'm excited. A little bit about Project One Haiti. We did homeless ministry here in Douglas County for years as Project One Ministries. And shortly after the earthquake, I went down on a mission trip and helped do some work for 3 weeks, and I kind of fell in love with Haiti. I had known for years I was supposed to go on the mission field, but there was never an opportunity, never an opening, and I just knew I was supposed to go to Jamaica. I knew it. And, you know, they do use dollars there some, and they speak English, and I can barely speak English. I speak Southern. So we knew that we were supposed to go on the mission field, but we didn't know exactly where and what we were supposed to be doing. And after we went to the earthquake, and we saw the devastation, and Haiti is the poorest country in our hemisphere. Average income is less than $100 a month. Teachers, anybody here a teacher? Teachers get paid about $125 a month. So this is terrible income for people. And so we started going down on mission trip after mission trip. And I was going down about 3 or 4 times a year. Then it got to be 6 times a year. The next year I went 12 times. And I was there more than I was here. And it made no sense. We started off, our organization's goal was to help existing orphanages come up to a standard where you didn't feel like the children were just destitute, that they were being well fed and cared for, and everybody had their own bed. But we just didn't see that happening. One day somebody came to us and said, "How about you start your own?" And I went, no, that's not on my radar. And I called Chris up. He wasn't on that trip with me, and I talked to him, and he said, "Well, if you think you can, you know, what do you think?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I don't have the money for it." And he said, "Well, you know, if you don't have money, that's kind of a big no." And I said, "Well, what do you think, though?" But I mean, he said, "Call somebody and see what they think." And he gave me the name of a friend, and we called, and they called somebody else, and by that night, we had the money to pay a year's rent. Wow. We rented a building, and we moved in Mama Bay, who is our housekeeper, and her 2 daughters. And then before the week was out, we had another little boy that was there. And it was just unbelievable. We had no beds, we had no pans, we had no dishes, we had nothing except a building and 3 kids and a mama. And so it was very shortly, I kept going back and forth, and we took stuff, and we took stuff, and we took stuff. We actually built bunk beds and everything. It's only been about 4 months that I have had a bed. I slept on the floor, on a mattress on the floor for years, because the kids had to go first. It has to be them If it's not, if it's me going down and getting a nice new bed and getting new furniture and getting everything, it doesn't work. It has to be about them. And so that is our goal, is always the children first, always. And we have built them, every child has their own bed. Right now, we have 20 beds and 18 kids. We can take 2 more, and we think we know who we're supposed to take, but they haven't actually come to us yet. We had one young lady who turned 18, and she's gone to go to another school, and she's not with us. And one of our goals is not to take children from parents, because all of our children, except for 2, have at least one parent. In Haiti, the orphanages are more like the foster care system here. When a parent cannot feed their child, and their child is just destitute, they have no clothes, they have no food, they have no water, they have no place to sleep, and nowhere for this child to live, and there's no education or anything coming for the future for this child, they bring it to an orphanage and drop it off. And so that's what we have, are children who've been abandoned by their parents. And we just felt like we had to do more for them. We had to bring them up to a standard. And so we never wanted to keep children from their parents. And so about a month ago, we had a daddy show up, and he said, I now have a job. I have a job, and I can provide for my child. And my wife and I, who were separated, are now together. And we want our daughter. And I cried, and I said, oh my gosh, is she going to be okay? But that is our goal, is to reunite the families and to take care of these children while we can. We have one little girl that, if you ever read about me in the newspaper as being put in a Haitian jail, it's because I tried to kidnap her, okay? Shina is 2 years, 26 months old now. She's 26 months old. A little over 2 years. She weighs 17 pounds. When she came to us, her mother had full-blown AIDS, and her mother had TB, and Shina had TB, and she's very, very malnourished. She couldn't sit up by herself. She couldn't take care of herself at all. She just couldn't sit up. She was so weak and so malnourished, and now she rules the roost. She is the queen of the house, and she knows it. In case you don't know it, she'll be glad to tell you. She tells all the kids what to do, and even the 16-year-olds go, okay, Shina, whatever you say. All of our kids speak English. All of our kids, except for Shina and Medley and Ella, are in school. We have all of our children going to school. We absolutely insist on them getting a good education. This year, we started I put on Facebook that I needed curriculum for my kids because we needed some more math books and some more English books and some more everything, science and history, and put it on Facebook. But one of my neighbors came to me that day and said, I think God wants you to open a school. I said, Patrick, what do you know about God? You haven't been in a church in 20 years. And usually when God wants me to do something, he tells me. And Patrick said, no, God wants you to open a school. And I talked to someone else a day or so later, and they said, you know, I've got this thing that you're supposed to open a school. And another person told me, and with 3 days, I'd had 4 people tell me, God wants you to open a school. And I said, now, if God wants me to do it, he'll tell me. And I ended up with curriculum for 100 kids. And I went, okay, God, I guess that was you telling me. So now we have a school for 124 kids. We're always in need of books, pencils, composition books, notebook paper, all those things, all those school supplies. But we have 124 kids that were not in school last year.
Wow.
It's not that we took them from another school. These are kids that were not in school at all, because school is not free in Haiti. School is paid for. You pay for it. There's tuition to be paid. There's clothing. You have to buy a uniform. You have to buy every book that you're going to use. Everything has to be paid for. And most parents, if you have an income of $100 a month, you can't pay $20 or $30 a month for tuition and books and uniforms. and still feed your children. So these are kids that were going to no school at all. We have children that are they're thriving, they're doing well. Every day we feed these kids lunch. And one of the reasons why we're asking for beans today is because we feed about 40 pounds of beans a week. 40 to 60 pounds of beans a week. We feed about 200 to 250 pounds of rice a week to these kids. Every kid gets lunch every day, and then our kids are fed. And so it's just, there's a lot of food that goes through there. That's rice and beans. That doesn't count if we want to put some hot dogs. Mama Bay is real good about slicing those hot dogs just as thin as she can get them to put in that rice and beans. And or if we want to put chicken, or we want to put something else in it. So, we try and get as much protein into these kids as possible. This last year, I know that the majority of you are business people, and you want to know numbers. Our numbers are, our budget, our proposed budget was $200,000. That's high, I guess, for some people. But we raised $154,000, and we met every need. But about $54,000 of that came from donations of sponsorship, where people sponsor a child. A lot of it came from corporate donations, and that there was about $15,000 of gifts in kind. If you were to give me a couple of £100 and say, I want a donation letter for my beans, we give you a donation letter, and that's called a gift in kind. We had somebody donate us a bunch of scooters, because our kids have to have something to play on and that kind of thing. But we're at the point now that we can't grow. We can't do any more. We want, our goal is to buy a big piece of property and put on that property 2 dorm buildings where we can have as many as 100 children, with house parents, with parents that take care of those children, and those children, it's more like a family. Right now, at where we are, if we have 20 kids, that is very, very much maxed out. We don't feel like if we take any more than that we can give them any real love and attention. We want them to know that they are loved, they are part of our family, they're our kids. They're our children. So these are the things that we have going, and we want to expand. We want to do some the property so that we can have a big garden, so that we can have fresh things. Rice and beans is the main staple. They eat rice and beans. They'd eat rice and beans 3 meals a day if I'd let them. I don't like rice, and I'm not real crazy about beans, so I say at least 1 meal can't be rice and beans. But we have a lot of things that we want to do. We want to improve. We want to go bigger. We have 2 other ministries that we're helping. We're helping Agape Orphanage. We gave them money last year several times. About $4,000 went to them. We have Pastor Harry, who has a small church, and he has a school. And at that school, he has about 40, 50 kids that he is trying to school with teachers who get paid maybe every month if we help them. They go sometimes 2 or 3 months without a paycheck. And when your pay is $125 a month and you go a couple of months without it, that's hard. So we want to do more for him so that he can have more children at his school and more children being schooled that need educations. And his children are children that are not in school otherwise. So we want as much as possible. We have several things that we do during the year. We need interns. Anybody that wants to come down and stay for a month or 2 months at a time, feel free. If you've been an intern, raise your hand. Yeah. He came and interned with us last year for 5 weeks, and it was amazing having him there. It's one of those things where I can say, Brent, go get the so-and-so, go do this, and he'll do it. And it's wonderful to have somebody there that you can trust and you understand, and they understand you, and they do things for you. We need teachers. We have 7 teachers right now.